The factory floor buzzed with confusion as warning lights blinked angrily from the control panel of the main assembly machine. A large metal arm had jammed mid-motion, halting the entire production line. The company was already behind on a major shipment, and now this failure threatened their biggest contract. Technicians hovered over the machine with furrowed brows, flipping through manuals, tightening bolts and swapping fuses. Nothing worked. The factory manager, Mr. Cranston, paced behind them with growing frustration. His tie was loose, his face red, and his voice sharp. "We're losing time. Get this thing running now." In the background, Noah quietly pushed a mop across the floor. He was the janitor's son, just 18, working a summer job before heading back to community college. No one really paid him attention. Most didn't even know his name. They just called him Kid or Hey You. But Noah wasn't just another kid. He had grown up around tools, machines, and blueprints. His dad, James, may have been a janitor now, but he used to be a mechanic in the army, sharp, precise, and full of knowledge. Noah had learned everything from him: how to repair small engines, decode wiring diagrams, and troubleshoot systems that others gave up on. As he passed near the jammed machine, he paused. Something didn't look right. The pneumatic pressure gauge was spiking, and a heat warning flashed on a secondary panel, details no one else seemed to notice. He tilted his head, narrowing his eyes, analyzing. "What are you staring at, janitor boy?" Mr. Cranston snapped, noticing him lingering. Noah straightened. "Sorry, sir, I think that sensor might be feeding bad data. That could be what's freezing the system." A few techs chuckled. One whispered, "Oh great, now the janitor's kid is an engineer." But Cranston, clearly reaching the end of his rope, waved his hand in exasperation. "Fine, go ahead. Let's see what happens when the mop boy thinks he's a mechanic." A few people stepped back, some smirking, others curious. Noah hesitated, then walked to the machine. His dad stood in the back, arms crossed, watching nervously. Noah crouched near the side panel, careful not to touch anything until he found the emergency shut-off. He powered the system down completely, a move the other technicians had skipped in their rush. He carefully opened the housing and began checking the leads. The others expected him to fiddle cluelessly, but instead, Noah worked with precision. He located a burned relay and noticed a jammed piston that had locked the mechanical arm. He released pressure slowly, unclogged the valve, and recalibrated the motion sensor. Every step was done with caution and confidence. 7 minutes passed, then he powered the system back on. The red warning lights flickered off. A low hum returned. The conveyor belt rolled forward. The robotic arm clicked into position, and the machine came back to life. Everyone stood frozen. No one spoke. The same crowd that had mocked him moments earlier now looked stunned. Mr. Cranston blinked in disbelief. "Wait, it's working." Noah stepped back slowly, wiping his hands on his work pants. Just needed a hard reset and to clear the piston pressure. Also, the control relay was shorted. Mr. Cranston glanced at the technicians, who looked down in embarrassment. You've done this before?" he asked. Noah shrugged. "Not exactly, but I understand machines. They talk if you listen right." His father smiled quietly in the back, pride in his eyes. Mr. Cranston didn't say anything else, but the look on his face said it all. And the factory floor wasn't buzzing from the machine anymore. It was buzzing because everyone had just watched the janitor's son do something they couldn't. The machine kept running smoothly, humming like it had never broken down. Production resumed almost immediately, and workers returned to their stations, throwing glances toward Noah every few seconds. The same kid they'd ignored all summer was now the center of attention. But Noah didn't bask in the spotlight. He just picked up his mop again and walked back to the corner where he had left off. Before he could start cleaning, a firm voice called out behind him, "Noah, wait!" He turned. It was Mr. Reynolds, the owner of the entire manufacturing company. Older, sharp-eyed, and rarely seen on the factory floor, Reynolds had quietly arrived during the incident and had witnessed the entire repair. "You fixed that machine yourself?" Reynolds asked, stepping closer. "Yes, sir," Noah replied, slightly unsure of how to speak to someone so high up. Reynolds nodded slowly. You've never had formal training? No, sir. I just learned from my dad. We fix things together at home. Small engines, wiring, old radios. I like learning how things work. Cranston interrupted nervously. He was just lucky. I wouldn't say he's qualified. Reynolds raised a hand to silence him. Qualified? He fixed something your top technicians couldn't in under 10 minutes. Noah didn't say a word. He could feel the eyes of half the factory on him again. Reynolds took a step closer. What are you studying? Mechanical engineering, community college. I couldn't afford anything else right now. Reynolds looked over at James, Noah's father, who had now stepped forward too, hands in his pockets, but clearly trying to hide a proud smile. You raised a smart kid, James, Reynolds said. James nodded humbly. He's always had a mind for machines, just needed someone to give him a chance. Reynolds turned back to Noah. You've just earned one. Starting next week, you'll report to our engineering department as an intern, paid full-time through the summer. If you perform as well there as you did today, I'll sponsor the rest of your college tuition. Noah's jaw nearly dropped. His father stared, stunned into silence. Mr. Cranston blinked. Sir, are you sure? I'm sure, Reynolds said firmly. This company was built by people who know how to think, not just follow instructions. Noah here? He's got that rare instinct. Noah swallowed hard, still processing what just happened. Thank you. I don't know what to say. Reynolds patted his shoulder. You've already said it with your work. News of the promotion spread fast. By lunch break, nearly everyone in the factory knew what had happened. Some came to congratulate him, others to apologize for not taking him seriously before. Even the technicians who had failed to fix the machine admitted their respect. That evening, as Noah and James walked to their old pickup in the lot, his father looked over and said quietly, I always knew you had something special. But today, you showed them all. Noah smiled. I didn't even think they'd let me near the machine. Sometimes, son, his father said, you don't wait for permission. You just do the right thing when the moment comes. Noah looked up at the sunset sky, thinking about how quickly his life had changed. He went to work that morning as a janitor's son. He left with a future that suddenly looked brighter than he had dared to dream. And it all happened because he believed in what he knew, took a chance, and showed up when it mattered most.